Now, Samuel Adams' dates, just to give you a context for when he lived, are 1722 to 1803. And Sam Adams, who grew up and represented Boston in Massachusetts, that really is the region he came from. And as far as kind of a nickname, because I'll give you a nickname for each of these four men, Sam Adams can be nicknamed the last Puritan. And that is because Sam Adams grew up during the days of the Great Awakening. He was a man who thought highly of the Puritan past. He was a man who very much wanted to see Puritan ideals, and specifically right worship, which was a major Puritan goal. He wanted to see those things come back and return to the church in New England, especially starting with the church, say, in Boston, where he was from. Now, his father is an incredible figure. His father was himself a deacon of the church, which meant he partly was in charge of making sure that the poor in the church's midst had their basic needs met. His father also served as a constable. He also served as a representative in the state government. And most curiously, he was also a brewer of beer. In fact, that was one of the sources of the fortune of the Adams family. Now, his father, who rose to be a great leader of the city and was a great champion of securing the neighborhood's rights and making sure that the streets were paved and making sure that the school buildings and the churches were upkept simply by the labor of the common people who lived there, including himself, his father would often gather together the leaders of Boston, and they would simply have conversations in his living room or in his library of his house at Boston. And Sam Adams, as a boy, grew up at the feet of the leaders of the city of Boston. And he grew up listening to them discuss how government should work. He grew up listening to them discuss how the church should function, how men should pursue worship, what a good father or what a good husband looked like. He grew up listening to what a good citizen ultimately was meant to be. And as a result, that really was his best education. But of course, he was also formally educated. He actually went to school, for example. In fact, he went to the Boston Latin School, which had been founded by those Puritans under John Winthrop 100-some years before. After that, when he was only 14 years old, he went on to Harvard, having mastered Latin, Greek, and Hebrew. He was able to enter into that institution and begin his studies. It was there that when he finished his studies at Harvard, and he had to write his big paper at the end of his college, his what we call a thesis dissertation. It's very interesting what he wrote it on. The topic for his thesis was whether it be lawful to resist the supreme magistrate, the supreme governor, that is, over a given state, if the commonwealth cannot otherwise be preserved. And that sounds a lot, or sounds to be a little complex maybe for your notes, but it's really simple what it means. What it means is that Sam Adams was arguing, if you have your supreme governor or your king, whoever is finally in charge of where you're at, if that person is actually doing things that are going to tyrannically destroy the country itself, that are so unjust, so without mercy, and so without humility, that they're going to cause an end to the Commonwealth or the Republic or the nation as you know it, then Sam Adams argued that it was just and quite possibly even your duty to resist such things as those. As a result, this got him a lot of early attention. And by 1765, when the Stamp Act came around, he was poised to be one of the early leaders of the Patriots or of the colonists in resisting the British Crown.